At the outset, oh, on my behalf and my wife's behalf, we wish you and your families and your friends a very, very happy Deepavali. And I do hope this festival season brings the best to you and your families. God bless India and God bless the world. Right. The topic of the day and the flavor of the day, PLA. It's having a general failure. I mean, there's no doubt about it. 9 generals acts is not fun. It's not. It's not a joke. But what's more important about those 9 generals is that the guy who the cinemas chap He Widong is dead. He died 3 months back. He was actually taken out from in March. It's only now in typical PLA fashion and or China fashion. They take a guy out. He's put on the ice. He's put on the rack. After about 6-7 months, things come out. And a lot of things have come out throughout the year. Right from this thing, we've been talking of a clash between Zhang Yuxia and Xi Jinping. Is it there? Not there. We don't know. But what we know is 9 generals have been sacked. We also know why they have been sacked, at least superficially. The machinations of what's happening within PLA, what's happening within the CCP, is a matter of concern, one way or the other. If the rumor, and largely you see any Chinese YouTube channel, they talk of a clash between Zhang Yuxia and Xi Jinping. If that is true and all these generals have been sacked, there's a factional war going on between in the PLA at the highest level. It could just spill over to the CCP and the Politburo, in which case it curtains China. But on the other hand, if Zhang Yuxia and Xi Jinping are not apart, but they're part of the same story, so many generals being sacked is a matter of concern. Whichever way you like take it, 9 generals being sacked is not a joke. In our country, even if one guy gets sacked, it's a headline. And if 2 guys get sacked or 3 guys get sacked, it's national news. Arnab Goswami will have a heyday on Republic. So will Rajdeep Sardesai on whichever India Today or wherever. But in China, it's normal. So many guys getting sacked. But we need to understand, because it doesn't happen every day. And why is it important today? This happened day before yesterday. Look at this. The 4th plenary session. The 4th plenary session is to start tomorrow. What is this 4th plenary session all about? It's all about the economic agenda, the 5-year plan of China, the 14th or the 15th 5-year plan. Right? And this is at a time when China is facing challenges, severe challenges. There are structural adjustments within the internal pressures, external buffeting, tariffs, this, that, everything. Okay? And this plan will, this is a time when Chinese economy is not very good, not in good health. They want to sort out technological innovation, industrial policies, geopolitics, everything. And just then, 9 guys are getting sacked. And these will be confirmed during this plenary session. If they're to be confirmed during the plenary session, then there is, discussion on this. If there's discussion on this, whether it's to be confirmed or not, then the main focus is away from the economics and the other problems. Whichever way it goes, it will create rifts and ripples. That's the point. Why did it happen now? It could have happened after the plenary session. If all was okay, it was only a matter of disciplining 9 military generals. It could have happened after the plenary session. Why it happened before? And it would be discussed during the plenary session. That gives you an indication clearly that there's a rift. Even earlier, Xi Jinping sacked a lot of generals, and I'll show it to you. But it didn't come up before a plenary session of importance. They sacked them after 8-9 months. End of story. Like the chap foreign minister Ken Gang, he was sacked. He's out after about 8-9 months. They removed him, and end of story. No, nothing. No, he sunk without a stone. But this, so there is a problem, and it's going to have wide-ranging effects. On that, I have no doubt. But let's go into a little more detail. You go into any media of China, whether it's South China Morning Post or QC or wherever, it doesn't matter. They've been, the thing today which is coming out is all these chaps were disloyal. They were disloyal to the party and not, they didn't contribute to the unity of CCP. Very interesting. Okay. Because must understand, these are some of the senior most generals in the PLA. And this comes on the heels of something else which happened last month. See, most of these generals who are sacked officially or going for the whatever were actually sacked much before. Like Hibidong was sacked in March. Mia Hua was sacked in November last year. 1 year later, he's being thrown out, and much hue and cry is being made out of it. But I had discussed this with Rajiv Narayanan, General Rajiv Narayanan, when we discussed the PLA parade, that during that SEO meet. At that time, I had said this parade was not commanded by generals. I quoted this article. Why were China's generals missing during the parade? Normally, during that parade, senior generals would command it. One of the senior most generals would be the parade commander. It was not so. All these senior generals were taken out. Colonels and lower levels and one junior general was put as a parade commander. At that time itself, one was clear that there's a problem. Of course, we all know that PLAs had a lot of leadership problems from before. So this is just a continuation of a problem which has been festering, and it has come up to head now. Now, the interesting thing in this, again, it raises a lot of questions, is that this first, it was put out in the media through the military channels, through the Ministry of Defense. Now, 9 guys, their names, their appointments, they were being put out, right? Through PLA channels or ministry channels was strange. The state media did not take the lead. In fact, the state media has put it in the second, third page. Xinhua, PLA Daily, and all. Some comments are coming out now. I think today they come out with a thing that it's come out in some manner where the CCP has taken responsibility. Was this whole story an ambush of Xi Jinping? And normally such things, Xi Jinping, if he's done it, he'll take, Xi Jinping has did it. Xi Jinping's name is not being associated with this. That's why I put out this tweet. You can have a look. Xi Jinping's name doesn't figure in this entire tweet. And this military spokesman is the guy who came, gave a talk and all that, and end of story. So, definitely dal mein kuch kala hai. It's not normal. So the way it has been handled, the way it has been, okay. And then let's look at the 9 guys, their antecedents who have been knocked off. Again, very, very interesting. One thing is for sure, all these chaps were handpicked guys of Xi Jinping. Personally handpicked. And yet they've been sacked unceremoniously. Hebe Dong, the vice chairman of the CMC, is also a Politburo member. Not a member of the Politburo Standing Committee, but a Politburo member, one of the top in the 24. There are only 2 guys, Politburo members. One was Zhang Yujia and the second, this guy. He's been sacked. In fact, if you go into the details, it's very funny. They say he's had some problem, health problem. He had a kidney problem, so he died. He's dead. And if he had a kidney problem, why was he appointed as a CMC? That means the unfit general, they're more political in nature. Okay. It's not like, US, where that fellow Pete Hegseth came and said, I don't want fat generals or admirals. Here, you got dead admirals and dead generals loafing around. And he was the number 2. And there is no, in the history of PLA, Lin Biao was one member of the CMC, or the vice chairman of the CMC, who was purged by Mao. And in fact, his plane crashed in Mongolia. After that, during Deng Xiaoping's time, during the Tiananmen Square incident, one chap who was a vice premier or something like that, and he was also a member of the Central Military Commission. He was not a general or something, but he was a member of the Central Military Commission. He was sacked or something like that. After that, now, this century, nothing like this has happened. Mia Hua, again, a member of this Central Military Commission. Now, he was in charge of political ideology and personal. So, every guy promoted or demoted or posted in PLA went through him. And he was responsible to Xi Jinping, and he's been sacked. And it's all, all this sacking of Mia Hua, which took place in November. Remember, August, September, there was a third plenary in which Xi Jinping fell ill. Immediately after that, the action started. So it gives rise to the fact that there's dal mein kuch kala hai. So there's a struggle on top is beyond doubt. Now, the thing is whether the struggle is between Zhang Yujia or Xi Jinping or both of them against someone else. Why I'm saying this is Zhang Yujia was specially called out of retirement to come as Xi Jinping's number 2 in the Central Military Commission. If he is gone against Xi Jinping, there's something grossly wrong. If he and Xi Jinping are still together and all this is happening, still there's grossly wrong. Whichever way you turn the cookie, there's a problem. Okay. Then there's this chap called He Hongjun. He is Miao's deputy. And Miao, it is rumored, he was kept twisted. Whatever they did to him, they did to him. He came out with a whole lot of guys who put their hand in the kettle or in the honey pot. So there's been a witch hunt, you call it a witch hunt or a normal hunt or whatever it is, investigation. A lot of guys have been sacked. And they say this is not the only one. There are going to be 28 guys more to sack. Junior generals. Wang Zubin, Executive Director of the CMC Joint Operations Command Center, the highest operation theater, I would say the office, he's sacked. Former commander of Eastern Theater Command, one theater commander sacked now. Earlier, there was the Southern Theater Commander was sacked 5-6 months back or 8-9 months back. Yu Shanan or something like that, or Wu Yanan, I'm forgetting his name, but he was sacked. The former political commissar of the Army, Navy, both sacked. Former commander Wang Hubin, former commander of PLARF sacked. Oh, the best part is all PLARF commanders have been sacked from inception. PLARF from earlier Second Artillery Corps, it became PLARF as part of Xi Jinping's reforms. 4 chaps, all 4 sacked. 10 years. So where is your reformation? Where is your new organizations? Last chap who's been sacked, Wang Chuning, former commander of People's Armed Police Force, sacked. No, People's Armed Police Force is an auxiliary part of the army. It was who Xi Jinping who brought this from being the Home Department to Ministry of Defense. This was again handpicked to go and take over the PAPF for security, all that. Right? So, right. So this again sacked. Oh, like this fellow says, sorry to say, but due respect, this looks like a fake narrative. Even Trump couldn't hold this 100%. I don't know what you're talking of. We are talking of PLA generals and you're talking of tariffs. So I suggest to some of you who are listening to my podcast, no, get your bearings to what I'm talking. Don't waffle with what you have in your mind. Okay. If you don't know, learn. If you don't learn, don't talk. You know what? When people come out like this, they say a fool and his thoughts are soon known and put to paper. So don't if you are not a fool, don't show that you're a fool and prove it. Okay. So see all these guys, 9 guys gone, will be confirmed by in the next 2 days. Okay. There are more sackings en route. 20, 30, 40, we don't know, but it's there. They're junior guys. There's probably will not go to the plenary. Well, now interesting, the Central Military Commission itself. The 7 guys in the Central Military Commission, the 3 guys who've been sacked are these. This is He Widong, he's no more, incidentally. Mia Hua and Li Shangfu. Li Shangfu was sacked 1 year back and no replacements. And if it is true that there's a rift between Xi Jinping and Zhang Yuxia, then Zhang Yuxia is running this either with this or there's a halfway split, we don't know. So, virtually the brain of PLA, Chinese armed forces, is held hostage with each other or whittled down. So, what's happening, one doesn't know. You will hear all stray rumors. Chinese YouTubers and people who are writing, they talk what they want. They'll quote this fellow, that fellow, yeah, all that. We don't know. I don't know. I mean, I honestly, I don't know. Okay. So, but what we know is this. Out of 7 guys, 3 chaps sacked for the past 1 year, no replacement. That is. So, what's the effect on leadership on PLA? And then this is very interesting. You must see. I'll make it big. Here are the guys from Li Shangfu downwards up to Mia Hua. Heat Bidong is not included in this. And here are the guys. These guys were all sacked up to 2018. This round of sacking starts in 2023. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 6. 13 chaps here, 14 chaps is Heat Bidong. Now, where does this list of sackings come out? It comes out in Cakesin, in an economic website. That's the funny part. Not now, it came out 5 months back. And what did they do? In the past 10 years, ever since Xi Jinping has taken over, 14 full generals, 20 lieutenant generals, 50 major generals have fallen from grace. Graft, all that. Till 2018, they were all of graft and weeding out and all that. 2018 to 2023, nothing happened. 2023 is the second tranche. In between, a few odd guys got sacked, nothing much. See, Li Shangfu sacked in 23. Feng He, who was Li's predecessor, he was also stripped and thrown out in June 23. So 23, 24, or now 25, 2 years. The other 50% of the full generals and all. So this, what Xi Jinping didn't do in the past 10 years, he's done in 1 year or 2 years. So obviously, there's a problem in PLA, and of course, there's a problem in PLA. I've been talking about it many times. Who are these? Again, have a look at it fully with names. I mean, as much as I could track, this is not full. The list is more. But mota, there are 2 ministers of defense, 3 CMC members, vice chairman, 1 vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, deputy director of development. PLA-RF is wholesale sacking. 1 former commander of PLA Air Force, deputy commander of PLA, then Southern Theatre commander, 1 guy, plan guys, about 3-4 of them. SSF, he reorganized the SSF and sacked the bloody chairman because that chap was trying to become too big. And this is only one list. I don't know more. I mean, it's very difficult to track the names. Every day a chap happens, something happens, you have to track. With a lot of difficulty, I got this together. Just imagine 2 defense ministers sacked. If 2 Rajnath Singhs are sacked in the government, Modi government will fall. Period. Nothing happens in China. Okay. Let me see. Now, if you go over this, every month-wise, what all has happened, I've put down. Have a look at it. Generals are sacked, PLA chaps are sacked in droves. Somewhere there's a problem and the problem actually manifested in many forms last year. In one case, the Xi Jinping didn't attend the PLA raising day. In another case, he had to call a special meeting. And that special meeting, 2 chaps were not there. He kept them out. In that special meeting of all PLA commanders, he kept the current minister Dong Yun out. Okay. So there are a lot of things. He's banned universities, he's banned firms, aviation firms. It's not just generals. Universities who write reports on various things, think tanks, out. So the story is actually quite broad-based, but it's now coming to a head politically. The question is, where does it leave the PLA? We know about Op Sindoor failures. There's a leadership failure, there's no doubt about it. Now, just think 26th March 24. I'm quoting a date of last year. There was a DF-17 which was fired in the east coast of Beijing. It was to go into the sea. It went and fell in an apartment block 50 kilometers from Beijing, and that apartment block just disappeared and about 50 people or 60 people died. Thank you. It's here in this. Today you try to get this tweet out, it's not available. It's scrubbed. It's scrubbed. The handle itself is not available. This is a fact. Sometime in June last year, there's this nuclear submarine which sank in Wuhan. One day it was there, other day it just went in. I don't think they've brought it out so far. So why did I bring this up? Where does it leave the PLA? Op Sindoor, we know we could bypass their air defense systems. Their air defense systems failed. They can do what they want, in terms of information ops and narrative building, that their PL-15 hit our Rafale and the J-10 did well, all that. But the fact is that PL-15 didn't do its job. The fact is that Chinese air defense systems didn't work. That S-300 or HQ-19 didn't work for Pakistanis, poor Pakistanis. They got hammered because of Chinese equipment. Their their air defense networks and radars were penetrated. Now, if this is the case of Chinese PLA equipment, how good will it be in war? And there's a huge leadership failure. Operational commanders are being sacked, senior officers are being sacked. What will be the morale of the forces? Let me put it this way. Why do you think veterans are treated well? When we go, we still go and speak to senior officers. And when, I'm telling you out of my own personal experience. When I go to Delhi, people speak to me, people walk up to me. I'm talking of not youngsters, the senior most guys, the chiefs, and even the Raksha Mantri comes and says hello. Or if I make a point, it is acknowledged and discussed. Why? Because the veteran generals and admirals and air marshals are important. Their views are important. Here they are getting sacked by the dozen. If I get sacked tomorrow, it will hit the newspapers. And people, and it will affect the morale of people. Yeah, who's this guy who's been sacked? Or, brought into disrepute. When I say sacked, what can else anyone do to me? So if your leadership, I affect the leadership and morale of people, even when I'm retired. Even when I'm retired. But what will happen if a serving guy is sacked? What happens if 14 serving guys are sacked? And then leadership failure, equipment failure, the rest of the things I don't want to say. So that leaves the entire business of Chinese military where it is. I leave it to you, to your imagination. There's a general failure. About that, let's not have any doubts.